targets.
I think the big thing about going into Game 2, Space Station doesn't really have to change too much.
Right.
They just have to be careful and be a bit more aware of what's going on in terms of the game as a whole is when it's presented to them. They've got the right picks. They got off to a great start. It just didn't go so well.
Now let's go ahead and take a look at those picks and bans for Game 2 because really, despite Space Station losing, team fight-wise, I feel like you want to say everything really they did correctly except lose 2 fights in a row. Really, aside from that, so certainly not taking anything away from Trifecta because they recognized where their opportunities were and capitalized. But if you're Space Station, you don't have much adjustments to make.
I'll tell you what, shutting down Jeff Hindler by putting him on someone like Terra because they took away the Sylvanas in the first round, that was a really good pick, really good ban away, and I'm glad they've gone back to it again. This is kind of limiting. I think Space Station might even go Athena here just to be a little bit different this time. I don't necessarily see the Terra.
And these are the same bans at the very least that we saw in the first game. And so Space Station took the Chernobog first overall, then it went over to the Athena Medusa. But they're going to go right back to the Chernobog this time. So far, Space Station don't feel the need to change anything up.
Well, look at how the game started. There was no real concerns. Like, one team fight, you lose a gold, you lose Fire Giant. Next team fight, you lose the game. It's not often that happens in Smite outside of the 40-50 minute mark.
Right.
I don't think Trifecta changed anything either here.
That game, losing 2 fights in a row, losing the game to a Fire Giant team, that does happen. It doesn't happen 23 minutes into a game. That is crazy that's able to happen. But there's our first change-up. It was the Athena last time, but instead of Medusa, it's going to be the Xbalanque this time.
The Xbalanque will shut down a lot of vision more than anything else. This causes a couple of problems for like Chernobog trying to ult across the map and find the right target he's after. Same can be said for team fight destroyation too, and especially Space Station go back to the Mercury like they have. Mercury can't see down the lane as clearly if the Xbalanque ults at the start of the fight.
That's exactly right. Could be very disruptive for Andy in the jungle. But so far, the only difference is the Xbalanque over the Medusa. Space Station are running it back, and Trifecta have made that one small adjustment. I mean, if you're Trifecta, it's hard to replicate what happened in Game 1 again, so I don't mind seeing a small adjustment from them. And if you're Space Station, then they're keeping things basically the same, except this time they banned the Shrikat.
I would like to see him maybe not run Neith in the mid lane, even though Neith did okay for Baskin at the start of the game.
He had a good start.
But it was very physical heavy in the composition. Chernobog, Mercury, and Neith, you know, it's very physical. And then you got the Aphrodite, which, yeah, sure, it's magical, but she's going defense and sustain more than anything else than damage. So maybe a raw damage dealer in the mid lane that's magical may help them out here, especially with a Mercury and a Chernobog.
Just some amount of AoE could help because as Ryan pointed out, I think at the end of that Game 1, they were able to very much group up, Trifecta I mean, and they couldn't really get punished by that. As the Hercules comes back out, things looking very similar here so on Trifecta's side.
No.
And Aphrodite coming out. This is it. Space Station want the run back. If they pick Neith, okay, Nox coming from mid. Okay.
Okay, so there's a real change. It's magical versus physical, Neith versus Nox. Nox not going to be as potent in the early game, although if she does hit the full combo, someone's going to head back to base for whether death or for
just too much damage. Yeah. I might agree with you if it wasn't Baskin. I mean, his Nox, we saw it already. It can get off to a good start early. Susano comes in instead of Nemesis. So it's not the Medusa, it's the Xbalanque, and it's the Susano that they're taking to the jungle. So a couple change-ups, but very, very similar overall.
Mass needs to stay away from Nox. That's the real game plan here from them.
Yes,
Susano
very
can't
disruptive.
go anywhere near the Nox. Maybe when Baskin uses his abilities, he can look to go aggressive then. But if he gets hit by either the Silence or the Root Cripple, Susano isn't going anywhere. This is a big game for Mask.
Well, if you're Space Station and now you have that Nox instead of the Neith, is that enough of a difference that you can pick Space Station here over Trifecta? Or and I can't believe I'm saying it, can Trifecta 2-0 here?
I think if Space Station just do what they did last game, it's going to be a little bit different this game, though, just because of the pressure in the jungle from Trifecta is a little bit different. Not Nemesis, it's a Susano, and Nox is not going to be as wave clear pressure heavy in those first 2 waves where Baskin found that kill. I'm still going to side with Space Station Gaming. Trifecta did have a very good team fight 2 times in a row that won them the game. But Space Station got off to a good start, and I think they'll do the same again.
Yeah, and again, not taking it away from Trifecta, they definitely capitalized where they had it, but Space Station looked to be in control for most of it, so it's hard to vote against them.
Tell you what, if Space Station Gaming don't win this game, I'll kill a bear.
Well, that bear's already dead. Do we have another one?
Oh, no.
That's right. Tom already murdered it.
Said it was alive.
No, Tom's a murderer. Well, let's get it back over to the murderer and aggro. I believe they're standing by to bring us the action.
You're telling me that this guy murdered an innocent bear?
That's what I'm saying.
Cool. I'll just be over here.
Hey guys, welcome to the Smite Pro League. I'm Tom Battinger, the only Tom Battinger. This is Ryan Bailey. There's many people like him. We're going to get into the second game here. And Trifecta, this is going to be an interesting one. How do you feel about that? I feel pretty good about this one, actually. Trifecta had a fantastic performance in game number 1. Game number 2 should be interesting. I'm really expecting them to just continue to do what they did before. Space Station Gaming has probably a very similar composition, but with less pressure, as Hindu Man Graham said on the desk over there. So, who do I think is going to win this game is a question nobody needs to ask. I want to ask you guys in chat who you think is going to win this game. Should be very interesting. Space Station Gaming coming into this one, what are you looking for? I'm looking for the Nox, honestly. I think the Nox is going to be a very important part of what SSG does here today.
Oh, God, I'm so much more comfortable now that you went all the way over there. I agree with you. I think that Baskin on the Nox, last time we saw this, it wasn't that, you know, the way that they picked the Nox was very good. All that kind of stuff was true. Also, Baskin just was so much better than everyone on the court that day that it didn't matter what he was against. This time, I think the Nox also is in a really, really good spot to succeed. You could interrupt a lot of what Trifecta wants to do.
Which is why we see the Nox in the first place.
Sure. Also because Baskin just obliterated a team with it single-handedly, and so why wouldn't you just give it back to him?
Because I believe that Space Station Gaming are not, and maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I believe that they have the same idea as when we were talking about E-United on the desk, is that they're willing to play weird stuff if that weird stuff is actually appropriate and applicable to the situation, right? It's not just, I'm going to play Serket support because I think it's fun. It's, I'm going to play this weird Poseidon jungle because everybody has a dash, and the cripple will make sense, and I'm absolutely, like, there's a reason, there's a method behind the madness.
Sure.
And so, yes, Baskin just stepped on people like Gulliver, but I think that this is more about how it fits in the overall composition.
Yes, I would agree with that, though Space Station has in the past proven that when they pick something for the exact right reason, and then it goes very well, they then kind of just assume it will continue to go very well when maybe it won't. And I think that has happened to them in the past, but I don't think that's the case here because the Nox selection is so good. It interrupts Raijin clear, interrupts everything Susano wants to do to you. Everything is a refire for him. You can lay the silence underneath where Neilma is dashing. That prevents the taunt afterwards. It makes him recharge his one. It's really, really good here.
Which, well, big taunt here, double taunt. Neilma going to be looking at that one. Not because I don't believe you. I just want you to illustrate your point. Which SSG, which picks do you think fall into that category?
I believe it was earlier this split where, was it Splice or EU? I'm pretty sure it was Splice beat up on SSG with the Chang'e solo.
Yes.
And it was when they were picking it they were picking it first in the draft, having no cares about what the enemy team was doing. And I remember saying, okay, this is... They made someone prove that they could beat it, which I think is the right strategy. Let's see what their counter adjustment to that is, because during the time where you're being successful with that, you kind of, in my mind, have to start preparing for when someone inevitably beats it, and then you get ready for what you think they are going to do when you get a step ahead. And I was like, what's their next plan going to be? And they just first picked Chang'e again and got smacked again. And I was like, okay, maybe they weren't ready for it, and they just assumed this was going to work for a little bit longer than it actually did. That's the kind of scenario that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Maybe they think this Nox will just continue to work because it already worked the first time. But again, not the case here in my mind. The pick itself is warranted into this Trifecta draft.
I also think that Nox does very, very well into all-in compositions. I'm looking at you, Zhang Kui, and so I actually said this a number of weeks ago on my stream that when Zhang Kui becomes big, expect Nox to get big because Zhang Kui is a big all-in player. Well, I think the same of Raijin as well. Once he pops that ultimate, that's when everybody's going ham. And if you toss out that basket ult, right, and you go ahead and lower everybody's damage output, that really, all of a sudden, Paul isn't as comfortable in that ultimate. All of a sudden, everybody's walking away, and you're looking at it for a secondary initiation. Whereas with Trifecta, they've got a golden gun. They don't really have the ability to reload and try again the way the Space Station Gaming team does. If Space Station gets off to a bad go like this, they can back off, and then guess what? Andy's going to keep being Mercury after the fact, and he's not going to have the ult, but he's still going to murk you down. Trifecta, I don't think, have that luxury, and that's why I like the Nox into this selection.
It's a good point. I mean, plus Raijin is in a really vulnerable state in the midst of that Tycho drum.
Oh, he's just sitting there waiting.
Night Terror is a really easy way to reduce his damage by 40%, by the way.
40%, folks.
Insane.
I feel like Nox Ultimate is... There have been a number of items and characters that have kind of sat there for a while with absurd numbers and just go ignored.
Yeah, Nox ult is one of the best ults in the game.
It really 40% damage reduction.
And it does a lot of damage.
It's not protections. It's not any of these weird numbers. It's just straight up. If you were going to do 1,000 damage, you do 40%. It's so silly.
That'd be, you do 600 damage.
Yeah, I know.
By the way. I was just trying to, you know, Anatoly's not here today, so I wanted to make sure that his role got filled.
That makes sense. How much gold did Paul just get for getting last hits on 3 out of 5 of those minions?
Yeah, he got gold. Thanks for asking.
That's what we call throwing your co-commentator under the bus. Space
Is
Station
that
Gaming.
a
Now.
little bit of guilt there, Tom?
I don't know what you're talking
Seeping
about.
out. Oh, I do. It's when you murdered the bear.
I didn't murder. First of all, me and the bear have an extended relationship beyond the camera. You guys have no idea what's going on. Me and the bear have been friends for a long time.
That's really weird because you're speaking in present tense and it no longer exists.
No,
in
the
present
bear
tense.
is recovering. He's not dead. I'm telling you.
I poked him earlier. He's absolutely dead.
He's hibernating.
I don't think bears lose limbs when they hibernate.
No. He lost a limb and he's hibernating in reaction to it.
That is not how hibernation works.
It's selective
Do
hibernation.
you think that hibernation is like rest from Pokemon? Like, is that your thought process here?
No.
Sounds like that's your thought process.
No. It's just selective hibernation. He's a millennial bear. He chooses when to hibernate. You can't tell him what to do.
None of the words you're saying make sense.
All of them do. Ryan Aggro Valley has no idea what to do right now.
I'm losing my mind.
I don't even know why.
Got an idea.
Baskin going with the Thoth, the Book of Thoth start. Very curious to see what Nox players go for because her cooldowns are incredibly high. Really thought I would see a Chronos Pendant being rushed. That's an acceptable build path. This is actually a very exciting part for mages. Scary D going to be surrounded here. Rare Mr. Mandy.
That one hurts too, because that's a
Yeah.
kill. That's a kill on a Scary D, no doubt.
Yeah.
In my mind, but even with Neoma's ultimate, but ends up not only not getting that kill, but losing his beads in the process.
You know, look, man. Even the best players strike out occasionally. So that one is
Some
just,
of the best players actually strike out very often.
Yeah.
I'm making fun of the Yankees, is what I'm doing.
Adam Dunn was not a Yankee. And Adam Dunn was the player with the most strikeouts of all time.
Yeah, but Adam Dunn, he's a good player, but
Yes, he
not
is.
the same quality of players like Giancarlo Stanton or Aaron Judge,
Very true.
both of whom strike out all the time.
But Aaron Judge is just a great person.
Don't know the guy personally. Can't say.
I don't know. I saw a clip on Reddit of him playing catch with a kid in the stands. I like that.
That's nice of him.
That's nice. I like that. It's kind of nice. Remember one time Jeff gave his jersey to some kid in the stands. That was really fun. That was launch tournament, actually. Launch tournament actually has...
I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember that because I was there at launch tournament just as a fan. And I think I remember that happening, and I was really jealous.
Launch tournament, yeah. Well, hold on. Zatman did it. Chernobog goes to the sky.
That was nice.
Nice usage of it. Unfortunately, no kill off of either of that. The last note I want to make about launch tournament was I'll never forget. There's a kid in the front row with a giant Laz's head. A giant printout.
Yep, I
I'm
remember that.
talking 5 feet, giant Laz's
Like
head.
college game day level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lassus head.
So much fun. That's don't get me wrong, folks. I love this game. I still log in nightly and play it, and you can even watch me online to see if it's true. But it's the fans. It's the community. Like people like that. That's what keeps me coming back, man. It's so much fun. And I think SSG are a team that really embodies that. Jeff and Barracuda, Baskin, Andy Aquarius. These guys are always excited to be part of it. And, it's funny. Jeff said to me, he's like, you know what? I love these lands. The studio's really cool, but I just miss the fans.
Yeah.
And nobody prompted him on that. He was just like, yeah, man, I just miss the fans. That's kind of fun. So make sure you show up to HRX for Jeff Hindla's benefit.
Otherwise, he'll be sad. And do you really want that on your conscience?
Oh my God. I don't you know what? Look, let's be real. Sorry, buddy. If Mask is sad at some point because of me, I'm okay with that. But if Jeff is ever sad because of me, I don't know. I don't know.
It feels bad. So if you want to come to DreamHack and make Jeff happy,
How do you do that?
highresexpo.com.
Oh, snap.
You can get your tickets now.
Yeah, look at that.
Do it for real.
Do we still have to do the promo later?
Yes. That's how promos work.
Standard game here for the first 10 minutes. No team really wanted to tussle with the other. That's why we're kind of having some fun. No real invades. We saw one almost invade from Scary D. He thought about it. And then a missed ability from Andinster. He was able to walk away no problem. Did get Neil Ma's ultimate, but there was no punishment. And so for the past 10-20, just looking for the farm and the individualization, which won't hurt either of these teams. Susano is a character that can get off to an early game start, but Paul's a late game character, Zapman's a late game character, and the same can be said across the way.
Jeff gets taunted by Neil Ma, but Zapman also forced a dash away because Andinster could be on the way here. Ultimate's used.
Oh
Zapman
my gosh.
just absolutely crushed
What
by
was-
Barracuda.
What?
Yep.
Ouch, just out of this world. Barracuda with 10 more stacks
Goodbye.
above that. Jeff Hindla going to be
Wow, Neil's
walking
out.
around. Neil Ma gets the kill on the Andinster. The tower does, but Neil Ma ring around the rosy there. And
I wonder if Andy knew that Neil had beads in that spot, because I think that may have caught him a bit by surprise, and he ends up taking an extra tower shot or two, thinking that he might be able to stick around and get that kill, but ultimately unable to do so. By the way, that damage was exclusively Chernobog, plus Terra Ultimate, of course. That's where the real burst came from.
Terra, yeah, okay.
Chernobog ult turns all of your auto attacks into the explodey ones. You know, that's what they call the explodey ones, and they do a lot of damage.
Yeah. When they go all explodey, it hurts.
Yeah. What, you think it shouldn't hurt because it's explodey? Of course it's gonna hurt.
No, it's true. When things get explodey, it's kind of tough to deal with. Barracuda making use of that passive in the ultimate, and yeah, like I had noted it during the play-by-play. 10 extra stacks on the Devo gloves in addition to the explodey basic attacks as well. So the additional power and all that stuff just lining up. And Barrett chunks Zapman. Just as I was kind of saying why we were in a slower paced game. Despite the fight on the left-hand side, Ryan, I still maintain what I said, and I think that will be an oasis of action in what will be another 5 to 10 minutes of a lull. Baskin, Andy, Barra, these are all characters that Aquarius, all these players just want to get items online. They don't want to fight right now.
You don't need to fight right now is the big thing if you're Space Station. And at the same time, Trifecta could fight at this point in the game, and I think they wouldn't be incorrect to do so, but I also don't think it's a necessity for them to be aggressive at this point in the game. You're really looking for some more anti-heal to deal with this Aphrodite. Scary has the Pestilence, but nothing from Mask quite yet. It looks like he's going for an Anchile instead, which is interesting. I believe that if he gets caught in that Nox combo, he should actually, if Baskin is within range, silence out that Shadow Lock in order to stop that CC chain from staying super long, which is really, really smart. Could also be for a Runic Shield, which also wouldn't be horrible, but I think the Anchile is likely a better pickup.
I agree. I agree completely. And kind of what you were saying about Trifecta there, where they could fight, but they could also not invade coming out from Barracuda nice and easy there. I think the Chernobog punish is too much to even risk it. Just play it safe right now. Chernobog can show up to your team fight at any point in the game. So if you get there and you get the cheeky, one-on-one because the guy wasn't paying attention, that's not the case. We were talking about it with Neith. I said, you're never at 100% HP with Neith. You always have 90%. And also, you're never alone. You're never one-on-one with Neith. Same thing with the Chernobog, except more so because instead of sending an arrow your way, he'll send himself your way.
Jeff in a bit of trouble, and he'll dash away.
Easy.
Ward coverage still in Space Station's favor as Barra in a bad spot himself. Doesn't use the Purification Beads, but the Darkest of Nights is what actually prompts that Earth and Fury from Jeff Hindla. Jeff can't see what sort of follow-up is coming Barra's way, and he knows that Barra has an ultimate, but doesn't have his dash up, so uses the ultimate in response to the Xbalanque, but no one was coming.
So if you've ever seen Jeff play, competitive end game. We'll hold that because Matt's going to show up, but so will Andy. Right up the middle. Here comes trouble as the ultimate just going to whiff. The pull just going to whiff, but won't whiff the storm. Kata and Barracuda winds up with nada. Jeff Hindla in some trouble. Yada, yada, yada. 4 players. They'll kill him.
Paul has to use the beads just in case. He'll get Anitstar here too. Nice kill there for Trifecta. They get 3 and lose none in the process. Gold Fury is up and available, but Basket has that ultimate, which is a great steal potential.
It is, but it can be body blocked, which is why I love what Trifecta are doing. Paul's just pushing up, understanding that Zapman and Mask have the distributed damage over time. Gold Fury goes down. Paul might give his life for this, except he's got Scary D. Paul might give his life for the. Oh, he walked into the birds!
No, he missed.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, just barely. Scary knew he connected with the Earthbreaker with the pull, but didn't. He thought Aquarius ulted too late, but Aquarius had timed it correctly. So Scary's trying to hit him with the ultimate as he's landing, so that ultimate doesn't end up helping Aquarius, but just well timed. Also did force the shell because Aquarius thought the boulder was coming up and over. So. That was
and so this is what I was saying. I was talking about how Trifecta just have an all-in composition. They don't have the luxury of ejecting and getting back in there. And so what Trifecta have to do is this is all about window of opportunity. You just got to find these moments. Oh, Barrett is by himself. It's all in 100%, pedal to the metal, high octane, and if we die, we die. There is no reservation. There is no hesitation. It is just, look, guys, we're going in. Everybody has to show up, and maybe we die, but hopefully they die first. This time it worked out perfectly. Gold Fury goes down. 3,000 gold in the lead. Here's Trifecta. Boy, that's a nice one.
But at the same time, I think their itemization is kind of preventing them from being able to group up and be effective here. Paul, look, Spear of the Magus is incredible on Raijin. It's a great pickup. But against Terra and an Aphrodite, where's the Divine Ruin? Mask goes Brawler's Beatstick first item last game. Maybe he feels like he doesn't have enough damage in the early game, and that's why he transitions over to the Jotuns. I've already covered why he goes the Unchile, and I think that's a smart pickup. But now he's got to wait for a Brawler's Beatstick, and that kind of delays this push potential from Trifecta.
I like the Spear of the Magus, and I think it's part of what allowed them to get that kill. And here's a counterpoint is that, like I just said, this is an all-in composition. If you just out DPS the HPS, right, you don't even have to worry about it. Now, naturally, the Divine Ruin's going to help out, and two questions I want to ask is, one, talk to me a little bit about, in general, Spear of the Magus plus Obsidian Shard. We were told never to like this combination in the past, but metas change. And secondly, if this Obsidian Shard is a Divine Ruin after the fact, are you still as upset?
Okay, so first of all, Spear of the Magus plus Obsidian Shard is okay against particularly tanky compositions. I don't think this fits that bill yet. Now, maybe Aquarius, maybe Paul studied some game tape from Aquarius when he plays as Aphrodite. He knows that he'll go Breastplate, Lotus Crown, Rod of Asclepius, tank item. Sure. And then this Obsidian Shard is just fine. If Aquarius does not go for tank item, specifically at least one dedicated magical defense tank item, Obsidian Shard is probably overkill. If that is Spear of the Magus into Divine Ruin, I'm fine with that. I think that you're basically hitting close to pen cap with that once you stack that Spear of the Magus, and that's fine and would have done the job here, I think, for Trifecta. It's just that with Spear is only, 65 power on that item?
Yeah, 65 power, 15 pen.
You are not out DPSing Terra ult heal. With that in comparison to Divine Ruin, with that power and the anti-heal put in. The math just won't add up there. If that's a Rod of Tahuti, that argument is acceptable,
right? But
not with Spear of the Magus. Between pen options, I think that going Spear of the Magus into Divine Ruin would have served Paul better here. It just against just the Aphrodite, I understand not going anti-heal because you can kill the targets that she isn't linked to,
right.
Blah blah blah. That's acceptable to me. Terra Ultimate is exclusively in combat healing.
Yeah.
That always needs to have at least something there to answer it. Neilma has the Cursed Ankh.
Pestilence and the Brawler's Beatstick now finished.
Sure, but why make sure? Okay, Scary, you make sure you're by Terra. Mask, hit that person. Give him the anti-heal. Neil, when's your Cursed Anka, or we
Versus-
could just all have it and never worry about communicating because we know what's going to happen.
I mean, and I'll take it the next level, which you usually bring up, is that Raiju is one of the best abilities in the game to spread on hit effects.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
that's one of the reasons why Gem of Isolation is a popular selection on Raiju.
Yep.
It's just his ability to spread everything across the team with that chain lightning effect is very, very powerful. And in my ideal, I would have loved to see this Obsidian Shard be a Divine Ruin. With that said, we do have 3 more slots that could absolutely be a Divine Ruin next.
Oh, but now he's got, that's too much pet. That is.
Oh, it can't be then.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it can. I don't think you can go Divine Ruin here comfortably. Your DPS would be shot.
Baskin right now getting in trouble. Scary D gonna be aggressive. Take care
really
of Baskin. Mask with the last hit. Jeff Hindler's gonna get rocked with the boulder. Scary D gets the ricochet. 7 lucky kills her trifecta. And this is the team. They're going all in, and we said it's gonna be a lot of lulls in the action. And Trifecta they're going all in when the Gold Fury's up. And look at this. The call that there are players on the right side looking for the other objective. Trifecta get the gold. They just barely miss. The Pyromancer. Barracuda was the last hit there, but Trifecta looking to fight into it.
Oh, Neil very low. He may have got a little bit too aggressive here. And they're trying to chase him down, but
Got him.
Barra is going to be in some trouble. He'll take a moment in that wall, but eventually will end up falling here. Trifecta get 1 for 1. As you mentioned, Space Station get the Pyromancer itself, but support for ADC.
Whatever.
Trifecta happy with that one. Plus Zap gets free farm on
And
his
the
left-hand
tower?
side.
Oh my goodness. Trifecta are, I mean, this is a very, very great look for Trifecta. Space Station Gaming, one of the top teams in the game, not even just in North America. And I think a lot of people will agree that Space Station Gaming's lackluster performance at LAN was not representative of what they bring. I got the chance to speak to Jeff Handler.
Paul's dead.
Paul's dead.
Paul's dead.
No, he's not. He's got Aegis. No! He's dead anyway!
Nox ult. It's insane. Did a third of his health. Killed him through Aegis.
Not specify that. Not through Aegis.
Well, yeah, he used the Aegis, still dies because the dot is so damn long.
Yeah.
That Aegis doesn't really do anything for him.
I'm sorry to nitpick. It's just important. Just important.
Someone will be out there and say, Nox ult damage goes through Aegis. OP bug.
I'm already getting a tweet.
Yeah, I know.
We hear you, Quintosh. Thank you.
Quintosh knows. Come on, man.
8-3 right now. Trifecta winning this one by 4,000. And I started to talk about the implications of this game. I mean, sure, we can talk about LAN and everything, but
Scary has to use the ultimate defensively. Look
The
at the
heal!
heal that he just got. Now Anderson's in some trouble. Mask
Handler?
gonna end up getting that kill, or Zap will rather, with help from Mask and the rest of the squad. Scary baits that fight so well, and now Barracuda is just dead to rights. That's the downside to Living Nightmare. An insane ultimate, but you don't have very many great landing opportunities in situations like that.
yeah, just, wow. Trifecta off to the races. Jeff Hindler and Barracuda down for the count. Fire Giant going to be going in the direction of Trifecta. Baskin with a brief pause here. We'll get back to the action in just a moment. Wooney's got to figure things out. But right now, Space Station needs to figure out Trifecta.
Yeah. I think it begins and ends with Mask. I think that right there it's scary, but it has been scary with Mask. I'm talking about the fight right before the last where they go get the Gold Fury and then contest Pyromancer. It's Mask blinking in, setting the pace for that team fight. Zapman with the well-timed ultimate to help him out, and Scary's right alongside him. There, Scary baits himself. And this is something that Space Station's kind of had an issue with so far here in Season 5 is that their understanding of when to commit to tanks has kind of been lacking. That's a spot. Well, let's say they kill Scary D there. What do you get after it? I mean, you're still probably not taking that fight. That's just, I don't like that engagement at all from Space Station.
Fight on the flag mentality. I've been saying it since 2003 in my own games, right? This was a fun one, though. Let's look at the other side of things. Space Station, Baskin, getting this kill on Paul. Let's take another look.
This is hot. Paul dodged it. Credit to him, but ends up detonating on the wall and then doing the rest of that dot damage. Basket has been really, really hot. on these Night Terror shots. It's been
Yeah.
impressive to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I mentioned that in the last time he played Nox, was that it's deep understanding of the character, because this one, if you just see this in a vacuum, you go, oh, he missed a shot, and he kind of got lucky because of the explosion radius. But we've watched Baskin use this explosion radius time and time again for kills. Let's get back to the action here, folks, right here in game number 2. Trifecta, perhaps surprisingly to some folks, took game number 1 nice and easily versus Space Station Gaming. I won't say easily. SSG kind of had control, and then 2 team fights, and then the game was over. Game number 2, I will correct myself here and say game number 2 has looked easy for Trifecta.
It has, and it's been in large part due to the way that their team fights have worked so far. This game, again, it's not the same as game 1, where Space Station was lacking AoE damage, because they do have some, but it's still not threatening AoE damage. Baskin's silence covers an area, but then you can just walk out of it very easily. His personal lockdown is onto one target. Night Terror can hit an area, but it's fairly small, and once that's out, the rest of Trifecta can kind of just deathball again. And that's where I think that when you talk about, oh, you know, it's going to be a hunter meta, double hunters are really, really good. Once teams start to get familiar with that again, it usually takes a little bit of time, but they just understand that you don't have any way to stop a team from grouping as 5 and just shoving it down mid, and you don't have the AoE to punish them. Space Station's kind of falling victim to that here. They've gone through the majority of Season 5 not really needing a lot of AoE because Baskin's gotten off to a great lead, or, you know, they played the map really well. Aquarius has dictated so much attention that he gets the rest of the team ahead. When it's even like this, it's hard to fight into a team that doesn't respect your damage.
We've seen this before. I think Dignitas is probably the best recent example. Do you think Space Station Gaming are struggling now because they simply haven't lost enough?
Yes and no. I think that Space Station has taken some losses this split, and just in Season 5 in general, they've definitely lost from. I think, more personally, that it's widely known that E-United and Space Station are scrim partners.
Yes.
And they basically scrim, not entirely, it's not 100%, but it's mostly just each other from my understanding. I think that while that does help Space Station stay ahead of other teams in the region, outside of E-United, of course, it helps those teams stay ahead of the rest of their region for the most part. It can create misunderstandings of the meta, of what is valued for other teams, that kind of thing, where maybe something is heavily valued between those 2 teams because they're play styles, but other teams won't really think it's that good. It can warp your understanding of the overall region meta, and I think that without getting as much practice against other teams in your region, different play styles will give you more trouble than they would have if you've been practicing against that team sporadically throughout the split. And I think that while there are obvious ups and downs to having scrim partners, I think that you look at what happened in Europe, where Energy was the dominant team for a long, long time. And they made a point to consistently scrim everyone in the region. Never, just said, okay, we're only going to play this team, and that's what we're going to do. That forced the rest of the region to get good enough to practice against Energy.
Because
it's the
value.
The time.
We're talking about the value of showing the field of competition your quote-unquote secrets.
Sure.
Versus being prepared for their quote-unquote secrets at the expense of trading your own, right?
Yes, secrets, not as much, I would say, but more about, it's understanding what they possibly could pick. You'll still have that one team that you can always go back to and go like, yo, we want to scrim and try this one thing out, and we trust that you're not going to let other people know.
Exactly.
And then you still have those opportunities. You don't have to only scrim that team for that to be a thing, at least in my experience. Maybe these days in the SPL, it's a little bit different than it was back when I was playing on the console pro scene, but we had a team or 2 that we could go to and say, yo, let's keep this under wraps. Let's have an experimental night at scrim, see what we got going on. It would usually stay that way. And then you could scrim everyone else just to get a feel for what other teams think is good, where your shortcomings are against their play style. It really was, during when I was playing, there was so much about not only what the enemy team is going to pick, but how they're going to play it. And I think that practicing only against one team would have really robbed us of the experience of understanding other teams' play styles and made the beating the entire league that much harder.
I mean, you're talking about you were a player. What is that already 2 years ago?
Yeah, it is. I know.
Wow, geez, 2 years ago at this point. But now I think your point maybe even stands even stronger. I think Smite is in one of its most open periods of time that we've ever seen the game. I mean, there is very little that a professional team that I have faith in could pick and me go, that's a troll pick.
Sure.
I think if you pick Anubis mid, I'm sitting here going, okay, sure.
Yeah, of course.
I understand, right? Like we've seen the Hunter, we've seen, I mean, Hades jungle in the minor league, Geb solo in the minor league. I roll my eyes too, but you know what? Manda Warrior's making that Geb solo work.
Sure, Geb solo has been proven. Let me know when the jury returns on Hades jungle. All right.
Yeah, it's not there. It's not there. But there's merit. Did it win? No. But
will it win? No.
I don't know.
You call me not what September ends, because that'll happen way before.
Just wake me up then.
Yeah.
Don't call me. Just wake me up.
You're. Never mind. Thanks for stomping your feet loud enough for everyone to hear, Tom.
That wasn't me.
Was that Ganesh?
No, that was Ganesh.
That's literally what I said. Why would you say no?
Ganesh. I didn't say no. It was that guy. Who is that guy?
It wasn't even in his voice.
Ganesh.
Stop saying Ganesh.
I'm not saying Ganesh. It's Ganesh. He's on the comms for some reason. He's not in the game. He's just saying Ganesh.
Left side Phoenix Siege by Trifecta.
10K lead.
But look at Mass split pushing in the mid lane, putting a little bit of pressure there, and not really investing anything, most importantly, though. He did lose his Magi's Cloak. Zap got chunked and used beads. Woo! Here comes Andy.
Andy from the right side all the way to the left, cutting down the team fight. Not going to be able to find much. Scary D rooted, but he's just going to keep on moving. Low in the action, Trifecta just takes everything off the map, grabs the Fire Giant. Space Station Gaming want nothing to do with it. They're just going to play defense on their Phoenixes, and that's where they were planning on doing it from the entire time.
Wouldn't mind seeing Baskin sell that Book of Thoth for a Rod of Tahuti now that he's completed his build. I think that there is an argument to be made with Divine Ruin, you know, the waning seconds of Scary D getting out of the combo. You have an easier opportunity to burn him down with help from Barracuda, but I don't think it's a necessity against just the lone Hercules as far as the healing goes on the other side. But I do think that selling the Book of Thoth will make those combos on Scary when he's about 45% HP that much more lethal, but more importantly, it'll up those ticks off Night Terror when someone gets put to 10%.
It's a big deal. Lights go out thanks to Zapman. Trifecta here after the fact. Phoenix goes down. That's largely a win for Trifecta. I'd expect them to back off, but the ultimate comes out from Paul. I don't really like that play, Ryan, but they got the Phoenix.
They got the Phoenix. Zap's ultimate is down as well, but they did get the ult out from Baskin and from Aquarius, more importantly. Aquarius' ult being down is certainly a big deal. He's got 30% CDR, but he's not quite to the cap yet.
Taunt. Not going to find anything just yet for Neil Ma. There's a little trouble for Scary D. Now, teams still trepidatious about entering this sort of area, but there's Andenster, pedal to the metal, and Trifecta ready to chase him down. Andy, low, Mass just looking for the punches, but he's getting return crit, pulled back, stepped on, number 11 for Trifecta, and they are totally clean.
Scary is eating Nox combo after Nox combo, and it just doesn't bother him at all. The Spirit Robe is the big pickup there. Getting that damage mitigation whenever you get comboed makes it so much easier to survive.
You know, Ma going to go ahead, use the beads to get out of that one.
Smart.
Again, very intelligent choice. A rare support beads, and I love it.
Jeff pulled back in. Nice ultimate from Baskin. That did hit onto Paul.
But look at Paul. He's shoving
drums.
Baskin out with the ultimate.
But it does stop a lot of the damage Tycho Drums is going to do. Zapman isolated and brought down. Zap trading his life for that right side Phoenix.
Barracuda here, taunted, and Space Station Gaming are going to chase this, and I think this is the right call, but Trifecta just get out of here. Traded the Hunter. You got two Phoenixes. Nice job. Can they run away is the question.
Jeff,
movement speed because of Jeff.
Yeah, and because of Aquarius' link stun onto Neil. No beads for him, but Baskin is back and defending. Neil plays around his Mantle of Discord stun perfectly. Big stun by Neil, and he'll get out of there.
I actually meant Aquarius when I said movement speed. So I was able to catch up, but I mean, you caught up to Athena at 32 minutes.
Yeah.
She's a little tanky there. Pyromancer will go the way of SSG. not too big of a concern. The Fire Giant, which spawns in 33 seconds, will certainly be more of a concern for this team, though.
Baskin, you know what I'd like to see now that Zapman in particular, his Aegis is down? I think I'd like to see Baskin link up with Andinster. Go use that Nox dash to sit inside Andinster. Let Andinster dash through Zapman, and then have Baskin, surprise him dodgeball style. Give him the old peekaboo, and then that Soul Reaver proc would one-shot Zap.
I mean, that's the mentality that we saw. That was the original mentality behind the Aphrodite, was that I'm just going to build tank, build a Soul Reaver, and then hit you with the back off because I'm connected to somebody that's diving your back line. Seeing that mixed and match with the Nox could be cool.
Could be. Defending Fire Giant, not so cool for Space Station Gaming. They realized they're running out of time to get that mid Phoenix, so they'll just back to base. Wisely so. You don't want to try and make a trade out at this point. That was more about just shoving the mid wave as far into the enemy side of the base as possible, but that's exactly where Trifecta is going to waltz up anyway, so it's not a big deal for them.
Yeah, this is... Trifecta have not won this game, and it ain't over till the Bacchus sings, but I think you were right earlier when you said this Space Station Gaming composition, there's a lot of reasons to pick the Nox, but I think this is Space Station Gaming. This is what happens when you dab.
Well, it's more like the composition is fine, and Baskin has gotten so many root combos onto Scary D, but Barra has no pen in the build. He can't kill Scary that easily.
Nobody's killing Scary. Jeff Hinla surrounded by Trifecta. Barracuda going to inject himself into the team fight. Largely, Space Station has fought out of it. Two-man taunt. And that's going to be trouble. Baskin goes right into the teammate. Mask takes care of Barracuda. Nice play right there. Scary D trying to chase down 3 separate members of Space Station Gaming. And they're going to run away from the taunt. Nice play there. Aquarius picked up, flipped up, kicked up, and it's their kick to the side. Mask gets another kill. And honestly, a rare F6 from Space Station.
This game's over whether they F6 it or not. 3 Phoenixes have already been knocked down. Left side respawns, and Trifecta just crossing their T's and dotting their I's before they head towards the Titan. They've got 45 seconds until Andy's back up.
Space Station crossing their eyes. Just what do you do here? 5 players from Trifecta having the day of their lives. We talked about Trifecta being on the come up, beating Space Station Gaming in this fashion. Very, very well done. A little bit of defense put up by Space Station, but Trifecta take this one 35-34 on the clock, 13-5.
8-0 for Mask as well. And you know Matt how Mask is. He wants to beat up on Jeff and Baskin and Barra. That's part of his agenda. And he gets it done there and plays very, very well in that entire set.
No surprise here. New Drake album out. Mask has to play well. That's how it works.
Is that how that works?
That's how that works, baby.
Okay. Then Space Station should have known that.
Mask turning up here. But again, I'm going to ask you guys the MVP as we do every match. But this again, and perhaps what makes me most excited is this is another team victory. It's any team here, even SK Gaming, any team here, one player can just have a crazy game.
Yep.
We're all professional players. We've all seen it. One player can go 20-0, and that doesn't mean your team's any good. Trifecta shows up and win the game as a unit.
Very much
so exciting.
Yeah, Paul had another great game on the Raijin. He was way above everyone else in the player damage charts.
Yep.
Neil was finding consistent taunts. Scary baited himself so well during that game. But I think Mask finding those 8 last hits. A lot of them were last hits, don't get me wrong, but those are critical to find as an assassin. That's your job.
Yeah, you got to put people in. You got to put people in the timeout, giving you the opportunity for the Fire Giants, for the towers, for everything. Let's give us the opportunity to break down game number 2. Trifecta over Space Station Gaming. On the desk.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Aggro. It's going to be Finch and Handyman breaking down the end of the day. That's an upset by every meaning of the word there. Trifecta taking down Space Station, not just taking him down, Graham, but a 2-0. That was impressive.
Mask always plays up when he's against tough opposition, especially on a team that he was formerly on.
Right.
He wants to show that he's the bee's knees. He wants to show that he's the one that can put on a show. And my oh my, did he do just that.
He was definitely the facilitator for them in the early game, causing some problems for Barracuda, for Annenster in the jungle. Really disruptive what that Mercury was trying to do. But later, as things went on, Paul really stepped up a little bit too. I get the feeling with the 8-0-4 slash line will be mass that they vote for, but I don't want to lose Paul in this too. That Raijin,
No, you're right.
He plays it so well. 22k damage.
Completely agree. And like player damage is very important, especially on someone that's going to do effective damage, not just damage
right.
as a whole, but effective damage that results in kills or objectives. Very important there. I love that Trifecta as a whole, though. A game of Smite in its outset from the early game through to the late game, it's like a relay race. You want to hand off that baton of leadership to another person, and in a lot of ways Mask did that towards Paul and the rest of the team, and they followed up in suit, even though Mask continued running alongside him.
That's right. He still looked good the entire game. That's why he is indeed voted as the MVP by Mixer Chat, and well earned. He was so disruptive, I talked about, particularly with Annenster early on in the game, catching him out in the jungle, causing the problems for Baskin too on this Nox. Even though Baskin was able to find some nice shots, Baskin able to find him out in the jungle several times.
Yeah, and it was just really good performance from Trifecta overall today. It actually makes things very interesting then at the standings over in North America, because it still means that, well, things are still up for debate about who's going.
Well, they were able to keep Space Station at that all-important 6 wins, like I alluded to earlier, a mark that can still be reached by a couple other squads, so it's important that they got that. Do want to give some credit over to Neil in this game, too, on that Athena, that he was able to play at such a high level, too. The taunt that he used was able to interrupt some very key combos, keep a few members alive. It wasn't just for, like, setup so Paul could follow with damage, but he was using it to interrupt on the side of Space Station as well, so Neil had a great game, too.
The bigger thing about Trifecta overall, though, is the fact that they made changes this split, and towards the end of the split they're finding a rhythm, and that's going to be so important heading into fall, which is all about Worlds, and where all teams every year, that's the most important time of the year. So getting into a good groove now against one of the best teams in North America, the right time to do it.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, a lot of teams look towards summer where they make those changes, they start to build on them, because fall there's no second chances. You got to make it and do well in that split to give yourself a chance if you want to make it to the HRX. But let's go ahead and take a look back at this week's schedule so we can see some of those important matchups. Remember, Dig got the 2-0 over Obey earlier on in Europe. That one was a very big set. CLG was able to take down E-United, and E-United recovered from that, and we're still able to come find a victory later on. So some huge sets happened.
And we've got 1 week left to go, so the standings are very important going into this final week to see exactly how this one plays out. E-United, Space Station, Splice, and Trifecta. Within reason, I mean, E-United should be safe here with how this is looking.
Yes.
But you got to break everything down, because Splice and Trifecta still have 2 games left to play. Could climb in the standings, and they're the games for next week.
Yeah, I actually do believe E-United are safe at that 7. I don't think that anyone else can get to 7 and push them back out from those other spots. So United, I think, very much have gotten it. But we'll go over all those clinching scenarios for sure for y'all later on. Now, this is going to be the week schedule for next week that you all can look at. And you'll notice right away we don't have any games broadcasted on Wednesday. That's July 4th. Here in the States, we celebrate independence from those of Hindu man on July 4th, so we're going to not have any broadcast that day. We're going to be moving those over to Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
You remember when you lost, right?
No, I wasn't alive. Were you?
Oh, well, your country lost, you know.
Huh?
You were born from losers.
Oh, if we talk about countries losing, I mean, they could bring up the Vietnam or the World Cup, but
What?
neither of those things even exist in your history anymore, do
They sure don't. Who cares about the World Cup? Not here in America, where we get all the W's we could possibly want. We just make them ourselves. We make up our own sport, and then we're good at that.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
then we'll be better than everyone else at those things.
I'll agree to BM you that way by you BMing yourself.
It's not a BM. We invent something, everyone cares about it, and we're the best at it. That's just how it ends up going for you. But we'll talk a little bit more about how things are going to break down year-wise.
Yeah.
Going
Year-wise.
forward. We got a lot of different events that we're going to be working towards here. The All-Star event is one that I'm personally looking forward to, August 11th through the 12th, where we're going to be bringing the players here and finding out how they work outside their normal comps, which should be very fun.
Supposedly, that All-Stars event, there might be something special for you guys as well.
Why do you,
I heard about a rumor that we might be having a special match there as well, which we'll talk about closer to the time.
Ooh, Hindu man kind of putting some spice out there. I don't even know what he's talking about. I'm excited for that. The Summerland will precede that, though, the 25th to the 29th, and everyone's working towards, of course, that SWC placement round where everyone's at the World Championship qualifying towards the actual event at HRX, November 16th through 18th.
Yep.
That's what everybody's trying to build their way towards. Right
Make sure you get your tickets there too. Smite World Championship is 16th to 18th at DreamHack, and you want to get your tickets in now because closer towards the time, the tickets may end up running out, or it could become more difficult.
That's right. You don't know if those can get snatched up, so you want to grab them as soon as you can. That's how you come see the World Championship for Smite. Console will be there as well. Paladins and Paladins console. It's more action than ever that you're getting for those tickets. Plus, there's other events happening at DreamHack. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that you get to see there. Plus, there's going to be plenty of Smite. Me and Hindu, some of your favorite casters like Tom, Taco, Toli. Those are all of us, by the way. Everyone that you could possibly want to meet. No one's being left out from that list.
Production?
Oh, that's right, production, yes. I meant there's no other Smite talent pieces that we're missing out from that. Again, that's me, you, Tom, Taco, and Toli. That's all of us.
The Bear Killer. Oh, Tom, yeah.
Tom is the Bear Killer. I said that. That's
fine.
right. Tom will be there as well. Well, you shouldn't have murdered him then if you didn't want to hear anything more about it, which you did, of course, murder. And in fact, because of that, we feel like maybe we should give you all just a little bit of something. So there's going to be a gem sale happening as well where you can get those cheaper.
Tom murders prayers, we murder gem prices. That's
right.
What it's all about here.
It's got to be balanced. There's got to be equilibrium, and we maintain that here for you. No, it's actually because there's Loki's going to be out of the game for a little while, so he is slashing prices. But this is your chance to go ahead and grab some gems, grab some of those cool new skins. That Pwash skin we showed earlier today was very cool.
Very blue.
That's right. So you're going to want to stock up on some skins. The Izanami skin's going to be coming out here soon. Stack up on those gems so you can get those cool skins.
Definitely true. It's a lot of good skins to get hold of there. Play Eiffel 65 as you're playing the Arposh skin. You'll have a good time.
That's right. A lot of cool stuff that's going to be going on. But that's going to do it for the SPL this week. Remember, next week, that's the final one where we're determining who exactly is going over to the Summer LAN. We're going to have Esports Weekly Monday, 10 a.m. Tom's going to be running the ship that day, and then we're going to be going right into some more SPL action. That's going to do it here for us. Graham, I don't know what this looks about. Let's go ahead and peach it before I have to hear more from Hindu Man.
Peach it!